You know, in the past 8 months, we have heard many compare the Biden administration and presidency to Jimmy Carter days.
I would compare Joe Biden presidency to a damn remedial class, complete with retards.
Democrats, members of your own party, are still divided over your agenda going forward. So what do you say to Americans who say that you have not delivered on that promise?
And what do you say to Americans who think you too damn stupid to run the country?
Remember, I said it's going to take me a year to deliver everything I'm looking at here. That's number one.
It's been damn near a whole year, and you ain't completed a whole paragraph yet. Number 1.5.
Number two, take a look at what I inherited when I came into office.
What? Vaccines, a strong border, a strong economy, energy independence, low gas prices, and you messed it all up.
The economic plan, you all are always, and understandably, legitimately, citing polls.
How you know, nigga? You said you don't pay attention to polls.
Every element of my economic plan is overwhelmingly popular. Overwhelmingly popular. But the problem is, with everything happening, not everybody knows what's in that plan.
Well, nigga, ain't it your job to explain to us what's in the damn plan?
All those women out there who are not able to go back to work because they have they
got an AAA, well, they college educated. Next! Never mind you talking about what's in the plan. That'll take the whole damn video.
But with the crisis after crisis continuing to unfold under the Biden watch, I now realize that comparison is an actual insult to Jimmy Carter.
It's actually disrespect to a remedial class, too. Next!
I have a question about the numbers that you gave and the math. So there are 15,000 migrants under the Del Rio Bridge Saturday. If you add up the ones that you say were expelled or released, it's less than 5,000. Say there's 5,000 that are still left. Where's everybody else?
Did most of the Haitians just disappear? Next!
We understand that basically most of these people that are going into removal proceedings are being put on either buses from Del Rio to El Paso and Laredo, or being flown to Tucson with no COVID testing unless they show symptoms. How is that helping anybody stop the spread?
Joe Biden quick to talk about the unvaccinated. Why you ain't talking about the immigrant unvaccinated? Next!
Why should somebody, say, in Laredo, Texas, or El Paso, or Tucson, Arizona, have to have their chance of catching COVID go up because hundreds of miles away there's an open border?
And Joe Biden invited every immigrant from every country to come on in.
Well, there certainly is not an open border.
Bitch, what? Well, what you call it?
A follow-up. You say the border is not open, but we're told by our teams on the ground, you guys are releasing pretty much all family units, couples where the woman says that she is pregnant, or single women who say that they are pregnant, and that nobody actually has to take a pregnancy test unless they want to.
Or a COVID test unless they want to.
So
are you suggesting you don't believe when women say they're pregnant? Is that a big issue, we think, at the border?
Hell yeah, especially when they're coming over here with the Wuhan.
I am not in charge of keeping the border secured. You guys are.
Stop trying to ask people for suggestions and examples.
Pregnant women are posing a big threat to the border?
You tell me.
To the border communities? Is that a big issue?
No, bitch, the Wuhan is posing a threat to the border and the people over across the border in the United States.
You tell me.
I'm not aware of pregnant women being a big issue of concern to people at the border.
Bitch, you keep on talking about pregnancy. What about Wuhan?
The issue is not about pregnant women. The issue is the border open or is the border closed? Because my understanding is that a lot of this is happening on this side of the border.
Stop trying to take the topic off the border and put it on pregnant women from Hades.
We aren't even to a year in this presidency, and President Biden has put this country in a constant state of crisis.
If that means he fucked up the country, you right about that. Because under Joe Biden, the border's not just open, them motherfuckers don't exist. Next!
That Haitians who are taking this irregular migration path are receiving false information that the border is open or that temporary protected status is available.
They lying about temporary status is available. Permanent status is available.
I want to make sure that it is known that this is not the way to come to the United States. That is false information.
Well, how can they tell them motherfuckers inside the United States? How is it false information if they inside the United States?
We do not know who are the smugglers or who are the migrants. So it's important that those Border Patrol agents maintain a level of security for both themselves and for the migrant population.
Because who knows, it may be a terrorist with a bomb ready to explode the whole damn Haitian bootleg camp.
The people who were under the bridge, you've talked about, some of them have gone to Mexico, some of them have been flown to Haiti. The others, are they spread out at CPB holding facilities, or have some been released into the community or released to family members awaiting hearing?
So you ask
What's
a very
their status?
So let me be clear.
When somebody from the Biden administration say let them be clear, it means let them tell a motherfucking lie. Next! You won't tell that lie on this skit.
The broader question is that it seems like there are border crises that keep popping up sort of like whack-a-mole. Every month or so, there's another clump of people or another major issue or unaccompanied minors.
And they all coming from different countries at one time. Mexico, El Salvador, Haiti, what's next? Cuba, then Japan, then China, and then Russia, then hell, Afghanistan again.
And is there a plan to maybe have, like FEMA type teams that go to these crisis points? Or is the goal to somehow stop having these crises that keep breaking out?
Hell no, they're going to let the crisis keep going so motherfuckers can keep breaking on in. Next!
Just to follow up on this point.
Yes.
The question was, if this administration were to take a more permissive stance toward that definition, could this be what we've just experienced in the last several weeks? Just the first of many similar instances to occur in this country on the border.
Hell yeah, haven't you heard? There's more caravans approaching the border right now. There's 3 of them on the way.
What instance are you referring to?
Well, we have 15,000 migrants that the United States government has had to now process.
And got 300,000 more on the way.
And this past weekend, we saw the starkest inflection point in President Biden and Vice President Harris' ongoing border crisis,
which has been going on every month since they've been in the White House. They have broken an immigration record every month of the month they've been in the White House.
The Biden administration must halt these deportation flights and allow folks to make a legal asylum claim, which, by the way, is a human right and legal.
But that don't mean they have to make the asylum claim for the United States.
The only thing that they've shown is an incapability of dealing with this crisis, candidly, in a way where they pretend it doesn't even exist.
Kamala Harris or Joe Biden ain't been to the border yet.
Over 10,000 Haitian migrants crossing the border and setting up camp under a bridge outside of Del Rio, Texas.
Demanding citizenship.
Overwhelmed by the influx of migrants, the U.S. government is trying to stem the flow. Border agents have stepped up security, preventing people from entering and leaving many in limbo.
Border agents? You mean white supremacy Nazis?
The Biden administration must immediately and indefinitely halt all deportations of Haitian migrants. It must affirm and guarantee the right to due process for those seeking asylum.
Those seeking asylum or those seeking to cross the border illegally and become American citizens illegally through the Democratic Party legally.
Their journey is a direct result of the Biden-Harris agenda that wants to grant them amnesty and a lifetime of government benefits.
And a lifetime of Democratic voters.
There's not enough food for everyone in the camp. It's very bad. We have to leave to look for food.
Don't worry, the Biden administration is going to take care of you with U.S. taxpayers' money.
While women and children faced 100-degree weather, shortage of food and water, the administration's response remained non-existent.
They say you can remain hungry for a little while longer. You're going to become citizens in a couple of hours.
With the Mexican guards here, I can't cross here, and I also can't cross there.
Those of you that get over here illegally or get processed illegally, that's legal.
Where is the border czar? Vice President Harris.
That bitch is on The View.
Vice President Harris has been booked to appear on The View.
With the rest of them miserable bitches.
Something happening here that I'm not not 100% aware of. Can someone please apprise me of the situation?
I need the two of you to step off for a second.
Okay. Anna and
we're going to bring you
Sunny
back later.
have to leave.
Yes.
And we'll tell you why.
More information later. It's a tease.
We'll tell you why in a couple of minutes.
It's a tease my ass. It's a rating stunt.
So shall I introduce the Vice President?
Yes.
Okay. So, Vice President, no.
Nope.
Okay. Shall we dance? Let's do a tap dance.
No, bitch. I'd rather you do a live facelift.
So, since this is going to be a major news story any minute now, what happened is that Sunny and Anna both apparently tested positive for COVID. No matter how hard we try, these things happen. They probably have a breakthrough case, and they'll be okay, I'm sure, because they're both vaccinated up the wazoo. You know, a lot of vaccines.
Yeah, a major news story. Two co-hosts just happened to get tested for COVID right before the vice president come on this show. You mean they couldn't get tested way before to know that they had that shit? And you two bitches supposed to be quarantining because you was in contact with somebody that had COVID?
I've been very clear about the images that you and I both saw of those law enforcement officials on horses. I was outraged by it. It was horrible and deeply troubling.
Bitch, you lying is deeply troubling. I'm surprised your ass ain't laughing. And the last time we heard from that bitch, she said not today. Because it couldn't be racism without the first black colored woman inside the White House speaking out on it.
It also evoked images of some of the worst moments of our history where that kind of behavior has been used against the indigenous people of our country, has been used against African Americans during times of slavery.
Don't forget, mostly by the Democratic Party. Next!
Tomorrow will mark the 6th month since she was appointed to this role. And in that time, the situation at the border has only continued to deteriorate.
She don't want to say nothing about her not doing her job. Remember, she's supposed to be the czar of the border.
What I saw depicted about those individuals on horseback treating human beings the way they were is horrible.
Well, is you going to apologize when these officers are found not guilty of being racist?
Over 1.2 million migrants have been apprehended since Biden and Harris took office.
It seems like you need to stop worrying about other people's job and worry about your own damn job.
And I fully support what is happening right now, which is a thorough investigation into exactly what is going on there.
But you didn't talk to Secretary Mayorkas about motherfuckers coming over here from the border by the thousands.
Under her control of the border, 970,000 with this border czar.
And it was her job to see what was the root cause of it and stop the shit.
But human beings should never be treated that way. And I'm deeply troubled about it. And I'll also be talking with Secretary Mayorkas today.
But you didn't talk to Secretary Mayorkas about motherfuckers coming over here from the border by the thousands.
For the last 2 consecutive months, illegal migrant encounters hit more than 200,000.
But since you ain't doing your job, thousands of immigrants have flooded the country.
Listen, the whole point is that we have to understand Haiti. I mean, talk about a country that has just experienced so much tragedy.
Bitch, Afghan didn't suffer so much tragedy when you bombed the shit out of 7 kids.
How does that play in history? It's a 20-year high.
The Biden administration is in the history book for the wrong reasons.
That has been about natural disasters that the head of state assassinated. And we really have to do a lot more to recognize that as a member of the Western Hemisphere, we've got to support some very basic needs that the people of Haiti have to get back up and to do what folks naturally want to do.
Well, hell, if you was going to do that, can't you do that for the homeless people over here? Get them back up and get them doing what people naturally do?
Be them from Haiti or in the countries in Central America. People want to stay home. They don't want to leave home.
Well, why don't you take care of the people that's already at home?
But they leave when they cannot satisfy their basic needs. So, yes, this is a concern.
Thank
for
you
all
all so very much.
Next! There's people here that can't satisfy their basic needs, and you ain't done shit for them yet.
In the meantime, Congress must do the work of investigating and ensuring accountability of the egregious and white supremacist behavior of Border Patrol agents in Del Rio, Texas.
Who was more racist in that ordeal, the agents or the horses?
What we witnessed takes us back hundreds of years. What we witnessed was worse than what we witnessed in slavery.
Wait a minute, bitch. You witnessed slavery? And what was happening at the border was worse than niggas getting hung on trees? Bitch, is you crazy?
And today, my colleagues and I, we are demanding answers and an urgent briefing from CBP about the conduct of its agents on the border.
Not to be funny, but you know Maxine Waters could have hooked her up with some type of wig. You know Maxine Waters is scandalous for this shit.
In the midst of meeting these challenges, we, our entire nation, saw horrifying images that do not reflect who we are, who we aspire to be, or the integrity and values of our truly heroic personnel in the Department of Homeland Security.
Wait a minute. I thought horses was part of Homeland Security.
This morning, the NYPD is ramping up security for millions of people expected in the city for Thanksgiving. The measures include the deployment of more police on horseback.
Now, all of a sudden, the horses is racist.
The investigation into what occurred has not yet concluded.
But you motherfuckers from the Biden administration already came to a conclusion. Poor horses getting a bad name.
Officers say the specialized unit is a key part of the city's counterterrorism strategy.
And now the motherfuckers is part of the white supremacy strategy.
We know that those images painfully conjured up the worst elements of our nation's ongoing battle against systemic racism. We have been swift and thorough.
And judging some shit you don't have no evidence on. The only thing that incident conjure up is the Democrat telling some more motherfucking lies about racism.
Michelle Miller is in Times Square with a closer look at the animals helping to keep people safe.
And now the horses at the border is putting people in danger. Ain't that a bitch?
In our response, first, we immediately contacted the Office of Inspector General and launched an investigation into the events that were captured in the disturbing images of horse patrol units.
You launching an investigation to something that was captured? Nigga, haven't you heard a picture is worth 1,000 words?
Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. Well, on its busiest days, nearly 500,000 people walk through the streets of Times Square. So if anything should happen, the NYPD says mounted officers like this will be on the front line of defense.
And now they can't be on the front line of the border because they racist. They can be on the front line in America, but if you use them at the border on niggas from Haiti, it's racist.
CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today? CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today? CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today?
And not just in New York, in Cleveland too.
We ceased the use of horse patrol units in the area. The agents involved in these incidents have been assigned to administrative duties and are not interacting with migrants while the investigation is ongoing.
So they got put on desk duty for doing their job on protecting the border.
Deputy Inspector Barry Geldman is the unit's commanding officer.
How important are these horses to the force?
Having that capability at a moment's notice where you don't have resources there yet, where you can start to evacuate people or give direction is invaluable.
Now the horses is put on stable duty because they racist.
CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today? CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today?
I don't know how many motherfuckers the Cleveland police done killed today, but I know how many motherfuckers a Cleveland police horse gonna bite today.
I directed the personnel from the CBP Office of Professional Responsibility to be on site in Del Rio full-time to ensure adherence to the policies, training, and values of our department.
That means just let anybody in and don't touch them, don't check them, or don't test them.
Sounds like they're good at community policing.
They're one of the greatest tools we have.
And now they one of the most racist tools we have.
CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today? CPP, what do you say? How many kids have you killed today?
I think that horse like dark meat.
The highest levels of the CBP Office of Professional Responsibility are leading the investigation, which will conclude quickly. The results of the investigation I will make public.
Hell, why make it public? It shouldn't be an investigation at all. Everybody saw what happened. It wasn't racist. They was doing a job.
New York City is one of the last cities to actually have horses on active duty. Talking to these two officers, they say their non-human partners are second to none.
Well, not no more. Now they ass is locked up in a stable too for being white supremacists.
What do you say? How many? You know how? Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
You can say fuck you all you want, but you gonna get your ass out the way.
The actions that are taken are as a result of the what we have seen in those images. The investigation will be compelled. The results will be compelled by the facts that are adduced and nothing less.
Well, if that was the case, you should drop the case right now.
Let me be clear. The department does not tolerate any mistreatment of any migrant and will not tolerate any violation of its values, principles, and ethics.
You only do that with the unvaccinated.
There is an investigation the president certainly supports, overseen by the Department of Homeland Security, which he has conveyed will happen quickly.
If you left it up to the Democrats, hell, the case is already done.
Cowboys with their reins again whipping black people, Haitians, into the water.
That must have been on the deleted scenes of the Border Patrol video because I didn't see that part.
I'm unhappy, and I'm not just unhappy with the cowboys.
Well, I'm happy as shit because my boy James Touchett, or James Touche as I call him, sent me a cash app. James Touche, good looking out on the donation that allowed me to sit out the house and make this video because I done bought me some weed. Thank you, James Touchett.
But it was horrible what to see, as you saw. To see people treated like they did.
Hell, I had sex rougher than that with my baby mama in a monkey cage.
Just to go back, please, to the images of these mounted Border Patrol officers. You said on Saturday, or rather on the 20th, to ensure control of the horse, long reins are used.
That's when he was telling the truth. This is a different day now.
The person who took these photos of the Border Patrol agents says, I've never seen them whip anyone.
But tell the nigga that filmed it, he didn't see what they saw. They saw him film something else.
So why is the president out there today talking about people being strapped?
Unless Joe Biden was talking about my grandmother being strapped with a 9mm, Joe Biden a damn lie.
Horses really running them over, people being strapped?
Oh, well, Joe Biden is a damn lie because I thought he was talking about my grandmother being strapped. He was talking about immigrants getting strapped.
So let me correct the statements in your question, if I may. It was on Friday. No, if I may. It was on Friday when I was actually it was on Monday, I believe, when I was in Del Rio on the ground, and I made the statements without having seen the images.
Or talking to the Democratic Party?
I saw the images on the flight back, and I made the statement that I did with respect to what those images suggested.
Or what the Democratic Party suggested?
The horses have long reins, and the image in the photograph that we all saw and that horrified the nation raised serious questions about what. Let me finish about what occurred.
I just want to know when the hitting and the strapping of the Haitians occurred.
And as I stated quite clearly, it conjured up images of what has occurred in the past.
Then what occurred in the past? What happened at the incident that occurred in the present?
Let me finish. There's also a question of how one uses the horse.
And if the horse is only used on black people?
and how one interacts with individuals with the horse.
Well, hell, what about when Americans interact with a damn horse?
The march, which had no permit to be conducted, was not being patrolled by the NYPD Strategic Response Group. According to videos and eyewitness accounts, the march encountered a horse-mounted police officer right in the middle of Times Square.
So when it happened to Haitians, it's racist. When it happened to Americans, it's legal and it's following the Constitution.
Several horses then started chasing people as the NYPD pinned protesters against the wall and pushed them off the street.
That's just as worse as your imaginary strapping and pushing people into the water.
And so I'm going to let the investigation run its course. I'm not going to interfere with that investigation. The facts will be determined by the investigators, and then the results will be driven by the facts that are determined.
You mean the facts that's already determined or the facts that need to be determined?
Several times said he didn't want to impair the integrity of the investigation to the Border Patrol agents. He said, I will not prejudge the facts. Did the president prejudge the facts when he said, I promise you those people will pay?
And hell yeah, he jumped the facts because Joe Biden always jumping the damn facts. The nigga jumped the facts in the George Floyd case too, and said Derek Chauvin was guilty as shit before the verdict even came in.
It's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay.
How can he not jump the gun when he already said those people will pay? That means the verdict is already in.
To follow up, please, before the facts are in, is it helpful to your investigation for the President of the United States to use inflammatory language like people being strapped?
Yeah, it's helpful to get the Border Patrol officers fired and prosecuted.
I think what you heard from the president is a very human and visceral response to those images.
Well, Joe Biden, as president, ain't supposed to make no emotional response to an investigation that ain't been investigated yet.
You said you'd be looking into this, but the president was really clear today. He said those Border Patrol agents on horseback seen in those images will pay. He said it's dangerous. He says it's wrong. And he said there will be consequences. So do you disagree with that?
Because if you do agree with it, that means the patrol officers ain't got no fair investigation coming.
Oh, no, I know the president was echoing the sentiments of the American public in response to the images and what those images suggest. But I want to speak to the fact that this investigation will be based on the facts.
We'll tell the president to speak on the facts and not no suggestions of what the public would think or how they feel. Joe Biden ain't supposed to express no damn sentiments.
That the investigators learn, and the results of the investigation will be driven by those facts and nothing less.
Well, if they're going to be driven by facts, why in the hell is Joe Biden speaking on sentiment?
They will be an investigation underway now, and there will be consequences. There will be consequences.
It seems like to me Joe Biden already got his mind made up.
But
Nothing
the
more.
president said that they would pay, so you guys are not on the same page on that.
I think the president was speaking in terms of the horror that he observed from seeing the images and what they suggest.
Which I think reflects how a lot of people in the country felt when they saw them.
So the president is supposed to express how people feel or is supposed to express the facts of the case?
Border Patrol agents that were seen on horseback grabbing and lashing out at migrants are now on administrative duties pending a Homeland Security investigation.
The Biden administration showed and they hell know how to pick the right damn pictures to paint their picture.
Starting with the situation in Del Rio, the mounted units are temporarily suspended. Are you considering eliminating them altogether?
Hell yeah, he just can't say it right now.
So we're going to take a look. What we were focused on right now is addressing the urgency of the situation.
Which means hell no, he's not going to bring it up right now. Next! But the horses and the racist horse riders is gone.
But I think the president wanted to make clear to people who watched those photos, who had understandably emotional responses, that that's not acceptable to him.
What about the emotional response from the Border Patrol officers who are getting accused of being racist? Is that acceptable?
It's an embarrassment, but it's beyond an embarrassment.
I mean, can't they at least get a fair trial before they get accused of being a racist?
And I want to know, in the first place, who's paying these cowboys to do this work?
I was about to ask you the same thing. Who you paying to do your wigs?
It's dangerous. It's wrong. It sends the wrong message around the world.
No, your ass giving in to Afghanistan sends the wrong message around the world.
The first question is, I was hoping you could explain more of your view that these agents on the border acted in a way that violated policies or procedures. Can you tell us what they did wrong?
Not a damn thing, but their job.
They've got to be gotten rid of. They've gotten to be stopped. It cannot go on.
The Border Patrol officers can't be doing their job. That has to stop. They doing their job a little too damn well.
I'm pissed.
And you also ugly.
Sends the wrong message at home. It's simply not who we are.
And that's coming from a motherfucker who like to sniff kids' hair.
What the hell are we doing here?
That's probably the same thing the makeup artist said before he started working on your face.
Do you take responsibility for the chaos that's unfolding?
Hell no, it's Trump's fault.
Of course I take responsibility. I'm president.
But it's still Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault that Haitians is getting whipped with whips and horses by white racist men on horses.
Thank you, Secretary.
The whipping, the whips, the horse whips.
Sir, that is something that horrified us all. And you know, this morning I was on radio, and the interviewer said that it troubled very profoundly the Black and the African American community. And I said one thing, and this should be clear: those are not the only communities that it horrified.
Wait a minute, nigga, did your ass talk to the Black communities? Because that didn't horrify me a damn bit. I was laughing, to keep it 100.
Those are not the only communities that it concerned. Of course, that concern might be most acute given the history in this country and in other parts of the world.
Damn, you about to pull a Joe Biden and cry?
But all of America is horrified to see what those images suggest.
All of America? Nigga, who in the fuck is you talking for? This nigga is crazy. Next! I'm not horrified, nigga. I'm hysterical. Well, Al Sharpton went down to the border and tried to get his 2 cents in because, you know, it can't be no racism in America without Al Sharpton going and preaching about it. A funeral, an arrest, march, whatever the hell they got to be. Al Sharpton got to be there to put the seal on the stamp on the envelope. I'm going to give Al Sharpton the Joe Biden chicken.
Left is the former U.S. ambassador to South Africa.
Why are you not being missing at the border?
And to his
40% of children
right
that have come in on the country are now missing from the
Jennifer
border.
Jones Austin.
He said what now? Kids are being sedated
we
at the
have
U.S.
Reverend
border.
Jamal
Why are you not being
Bryant
a voice for the children?
From Atlanta, Georgia, New Birth Baptist Church.
What do you say?
Reverend Freddie
How
Hayes.
much money are you making racism where it doesn't exist?
How
much money? Why are you trying to come and provoke violence? Why are you here advocating for violence? Why are you here advocating for violence? Del Rio is not a racist city. Del Rio is a loving, caring community. Hey, Jeff, what do you say? We don't want your racism in Texas. Get out of here. Nobody wants to hear your racist nonsense in Del Rio. You're a racist. Nobody wants you in Texas. Nobody wants you in Texas. He said what now? What do you say? Why are you not a voice for the children that have gone missing at the border? Where are your voices? Hey, Jeff, what do you say?
And show our voices and our presence. The Trump supporters and the right wingers can scream all they want. We're going to continue to come back. We're going to stand with our people to make sure that asylum is treated in one way, in one manner.
He said what now? What do you say? Hey, Jeff, what do you say?
And we will continue to come back over and over again.
He said what now? What do you say?
For people to be treated like this in a humane way, and for people to feel that they can use weaponization of horses to treat human beings should be resisted.
Hey, Jeff, what do you say?
So they can have all the hecklers they want. They should do all they can. We will keep coming back as long as it's necessary. We want to see the Border Patrol fully investigated. We want those that were involved to face justice.
What do you say?
And we want to see full asylum rights given to those that deserve it, like anyone else in this country that enters this country.
Hey, Chuck, what do you say?
We cannot have a double standard at the border. We will not tolerate it. We will not have it, and we will not be silent about it.
Hey, I'm walking in the house right now.
And I'm walking my ass out the house. You're looking out on the donations on James Touch It. And if you want to donate and keep this channel going, please donate to one of the things below at the bottom of this channel. It's a Cash App, it's a PayPal, it's a Zelle, it's a Patreon. There's plenty of ways to donate to the channel and keep this channel going. And I'm out this bitch because I got to be out this bitch.